Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning, ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
How are you all?
Fine.
Fine, ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
Okay, just give me a second so I can share a slide with you. My screen is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So, in last session, what we have discussed, anyone will explain me or anyone will,
Types of combination.
okay,
Uh,
thank you. Yes, Kush, types of
uh,
communication.
yes.
Yes,
First, interpersonal communication.
yes,
Second, intrapersonal communication.
yes.
Group communication and mass communication.
Very good. Communication, very good. And these are the types of communication according to the number of person who received the message, right? Now, another types of communication I have discussed, verbal and non-verbal communication, right? So, who will tell me that verbal communication, it means what? How will you define this phrase, verbal communication? It means what in simple sense? And what is the non-verbal communication?
Ma'am, verbal communication is
Exchanging information.
Just one by one. Who will say first? Um, Pratham or okay, Fleming, right? Fleming. Yes, you tell me.
Yes.
Tell me what is
Exchange information exchange verbally.
yes. Verbally, it means what? Verbal means what?
Talking.
Yes, words, right? Verbal, it means words. Whenever you transfer or communicate with a other person through words, right? And what is the non-verbal? Who will say? I want to.
communication with eye contacts or facial expression or gestures.
Yes, very good, Meera. Non-verbal, it means it includes the use of pictures, signs, gesture, facial expression. It means such kind in that kind of a communication in which we don't use words, right? If whenever we communicate with each other at that time we use words, it means it is a verbal communication. Verbal, it means words, right? And if we don't use words yet we communicate, right? So it is called non-verbal. Okay. Another non-verbal communication characterized I have given to you, like proxemics, kinesics, haptics, oculesics. I will share these slides to you. Today I will confirm with Vikas sir, and if all students are registered, then I will share this slide to you. Okay. What is a proxemics? Anyone means proximus? It means what? Which kind of communication we can say it is a proxemics? Like kinesics, right? Kinesics. Kinesics, it means whenever you communicate with other person through your body language, right? So kinesics, it means body language, right? In simple sense, if I have to say, when you communicate with other person through your body language, right? You know what is body language and all. So in such a way, if you are communicating, it is called kinesics, right? So I actually explain you proxemics. It means personal space, right? You know, uh, in simple sense, if I have to say haptics, HAPTICS. Listen, haptics का कोई हिंदी वर्ड नहीं है, राइट? मतलब मीन्स मुझे पता नहीं है, राइट? और होता भी शायद नहीं है. Haptics, HAPTICS. So these are the technical terms of communication. You have to keep this word in your mind through your in English only, right? The haptics. So haptic, it means touch. अब टच तो पता चलता है ना, राइट? TOUCH, टच. So whenever you communicate with other person through touch, I explained you in the last lecture. चलो let me summarize the last characteristics of non-verbal communication in one another time within a 5 minute. In last session, I have already explained you like there are the two types of communication, mainly verbal and non-verbal, according to the basis of medium, right? Verbal, it means, in simple sense, you have to keep in mind, verbal, it means words. So whenever you are talking with or communicating with the person at that time, if you are using words, right? If it is written or spoken, it is called verbal communication. मतलब कि जब भी आप किसी से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हो और उसमें वर्ड्स यूज कर रहे हो, right? So it is called verbal communication. What is the non-verbal communication? If whenever you are communicating with other person or each other, at that time you don't use words, right? Instead of words, you use your body language, your touch, your eyes, your gesture, right? So such kind of communication, it means non-verbal communication. मतलब कि जिस तरह के communication में आपको words का use नहीं करना होता, right? Through the eyes or through the expression, through your body language, right? You communicate something, right? So it is called non-verbal communication. Is it clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Another one thing I have explained you in a last session, like kinesics, haptics, oculesics, olfactics, and chromics. You don't have to worry about this word. You just simply you have to keep in your mind what kind of communication it is called. Like I'm just giving you example like kinesics, KINECIS, right? Kinesics, it means whenever you are communicating with other person, at that time you are communicating through your body language, like, right? I explained you in a last session like if you are in an interview, right? So whenever, if you are now moment you are not communicating verbally, right? But you are just sitting. So the way you are sitting in front of the person, in front of the panel, the way you move your hand, the way you know you are straight through the back, right? So these are the called body language aspects, right? So through your any person, in simple sense, when any person talk with you at that time, the way is standing in front of you, it communicates to us something. Like if in a interview session, if you are straight and confident, so you will sit in a proper way, your hands will be together, your eyes will be clear, means in a strict you can communicate with confident. At that time you're you have to say, you just keep in mind one thing, that is in simple sense, you have to make eye contact directly, right? And if you have a less confidence, so what will you do? Means what we do normally, like we see here, there, side, wide, right? So these are the called body language aspects. So whenever, it is also called a kind of communication. So whenever we are communicating through body language, it is called kinesics. It means kinesics communication. It means जिसमें बॉडी लैंग्वेज से आपकी कोई किसी से साथ कम्युनिकेशन हो रहा है तो उसे कहते हैं किनेसिक्स. हैप्टिक्स, हैप्टिक्स और ये जो सब वर्ड है वो इंग्लिश में ही है, तो वो उसको आपको इंग्लिश में ही याद रखना है, ठीक है? हैप्टिक्स, तो हैप्टिक्स इट मींस टच, आपको इतना याद रखना है, राइट? सो हैप्टिक्स मींस in which communication, when you use touch, right? I explained you in last lecture, like one of your friend is said today, and you don't he or she had explained what happened in his or her life. You don't say a single word to him or her, you just keep your hand on his or her hand. So it means this kind of communication, it is called haptics. So haptics, it means touch. You have to just keep in mind this thing. Like oculesics, OCULESICS, oculesics. It means you just have to keep in mind the word eyes, right? Whenever you are communicating through eyes, right? You all know how you communicate through eyes, right? So जिस तरह के कम्युनिकेशन में आपको बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, बॉडी लैंग्वेज जरूरी नहीं है, बट simply through the eyes you accept something, right? Through the eyes, through the anger of your eyes, you reject something, right? So it is called oculesics. Another one is olfactics, OLFACTICS. It means sense of smell. It is not a typical way we can say it's a smells, but if you are in your home and your mother has made something, and through the smell it communicates that today in our home means dal has made or something else, right? So some sense of smell communicating to us, right? So it is called olfactics. So these are the non-verbal types, because in proxemics or kinesics or in haptics or oculesics or olfactics, in these types of communication we don't use words, right? We communicate through body language, touch, eyes, sense of smell, right? So मतलब कि नॉन वर्बल जो कम्युनिकेशन है उसमें ये जो प्रॉक्सिमिक्स है, किनेसिक्स है, हैप्टिक्स है, ऑक्युलेसिक्स है, ऑफेक्टिक्स है, तो वो जो नॉन वर्बल काइंड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन है उसमें आपको वर्ड्स यूज नहीं करने हैं, राइट? इट हैपेंस थ्रू बॉडी लैंग्वेज, टच एंड आई कांटेक्ट. Okay, so I hope this thing is clear to you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. At least you reply me so I can be indulge with you also. Okay, and last one is that last example I had given a type of a communication, related to type of a communication, that was meta communication. Who will explain me what is a meta communication? How will you define the term meta communication? In last session I explained you what is meta communication. What does it mean? Meta, META. No one? Meta communication, it means when the speaker's choice of words unintentionally communicates something more than what the words themselves state. मतलब कि मैंने आपको वो एग्जाम्पल लिया था कि I have never seen you so smartly dressed. It may just leave this sentence. If any girl is there, like who is there, Hitvi, right? So I tell her in a class like, today you look gorgeous, right? So I simply say today she has wear a very good dress and hairdressing and all. So she looks good, right? She looks beautiful. So simply I said like she is a gorgeous girl, right? You look gorgeous. So at the other moment, one thing comes in her mind that on other day I don't look good, or on others day I'm not looking good or beautiful or gorgeous. So this is called meta communication. मतलब कि आप unintentionally किसी बात को communicate कर रहे हो, आपके मतलब दिमाग में ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि भाई वो लड़की जो है वो दूसरे दिन अच्छी नहीं लग रही है या लग रही है, right? But in simple sense I said you look gorgeous, but सामने वाले के दिमाग में उसके अंडरस्टैंडिंग और एक्सपेक्टेशंस के हिसाब से कोई और चीज नेगेटिव या पॉजिटिव सेंस से बाहर आए, राइट? सो व्हेन यू कम्युनिकेट समथिंग मोर देन व्हाट द वर्ड्स देमसेल्व्स स्टेट, राइट? सो सच काइंड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, it is called meta communication. It means it is when the speaker's choice of word unintentionally communicate other thing to the persons, right? Okay. I hope this meta communication is clear to you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
And yes, please switch off your video. Yes, Koladia. Okay, so today, uh, today we are going to talk about another points. Now my screen is visible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just give me a second. Today we are going to discuss about basic elements of communication process. Okay. Already we have discussed about this thing, like what are the elements and all, but in a more theoretical aspect, today we will discuss about it. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. So basic elements of communication process. Maybe in a first or second session, I explain you about communication process. Sender, message, channel, encoding, decoding, receiver, and feedback. Did I say? Matlab, I explain you what is the sender, to whom you can say sender, and all. Encoding system, right? Encoding, it means what? Whenever you want to communicate. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank
Ma'am,
you.
yes.
Yes. Encoding means what? एनकोडिंग मतलब कि कोई भी आपके दिमाग में कोई आइडिया या विचार, समथिंग, सम थॉट्स हैव कम इन योर माइंड, एंड एट दैट टाइम you transfer it into a words, right? And come and you just transmit to the other person. This process is called encoding, right? This all are the things that today we will discuss in details. First of all, basic elements of communications, there are the two models. The first model, it is about, I forgot to write the linear, I forgot to write the title. It's called linear concept model. Basic elements of communication process. So in communication, when communication skill, this subject is emerged as a subject, that time these things were not clear. Means nowadays we know that it is called sender. In such a way it is transmit to other person, that is called channel. Who is the receiver? How will you define the word feedback? What is the decoding, encoding, right? So in the, when it emerged as a subject, that there are the two persons like linear, and another one model is like the Shannon-Weaver model, right? So two persons has communicators. They have given two models about it. And what is that? So first, in linear communication, in simple sense, I have to say that in communication, there is only one way process. What it is? It means, let me first read the lines. The process of communication begins with person's desire to share or exchange an idea, thought, or feeling with another person or persons. It basically involves a sender, a message, a medium, a receiver. We all know about it. Who is the sender, message, what is the message, medium through which channel it is passed through receiver. Now moment you are receiver, currently you are receiver, right? Yes, the linear concept of communication, what it is exactly, you have to keep in mind. Here I have written the word linear. There are the two models of communication process. First one is the linear concept of communication, right? Don't be confused, it is a very simple sense, but simply I try to explain in theoretical aspect. At the end of the session, I will briefly in a one line I will say if this thing is involved in such kind of communication, it is called linear concept of communication. Okay, but elaborately we try to understand it. What is linear concept of communication? So the earliest conceptualization of communication by Harold involved the following 5 basic questions: who, says what, to whom, in which channel, with what effect. So when Harold make one kind of a model, or you can say a diagram related to a communication process, these 5 questions came in his mind. Like in communication process, मतलब कि जब भी कोई communication process हो तो उसमें कौन कौन सी चीज होनी चाहिए. जब ये सब्जेक्ट एज इमर्ज हुआ तब हेरोल्ड नाम के व्यक्ति ने ऐसे इस तरह से सोचा. तो मीन्स इन कम्युनिकेशन व्हाट विल बी देयर. तो द फर्स्ट वन इज हु मीन्स who are communicating. Like now moment I am communicating with you, right? So I am a sender, right? I am sending some messages to you. So who? The first
And
one,
we are receiver.
yes, you are a receiver. So to whom? The third number is to whom. Who means I am a sender, I am sending a message. To whom? To the receiver. You all are receiver. Second question came in his mind, says what? What I am saying? I am teaching you communication subject, right? So communication process. So says what? So I am teaching you something on one point, right? On topic. So it is called message. In which channel? In which channel? It means we are now movement. We are doing an online class, so through internet, right? With what effect? With what effect? It means this term is related to feedback. Like with what effect? It means I am teaching you a subject as a communication. What is communication? What क्या effect क्या हुआ इसका कि you learn this subject, what is communication, and you will feedback me like yes, we understood the subject and how it is important in our BCA, right? So when जब भी Harold Laswell ने when they try to make one diagram, like how will you identify the process of communication, at that time this 5 question raised in his mind. First, who, कौन communicate कर रहा है, says what he or she is saying, to whom, किसे कह रहा है, right? In which channel, through directly telling or through online or whatever it is. What is the channel? In which channel? And with what effect? It means feedback. Like we have also studied about spoke of communication, in which any person communicate with each other at that time. There are the mainly 2 reasons: to inform or to persuade. I had given you that example of HDFC Bank. Do you remember? Like now open.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
open your saving accounts in our bank, it will give you a great reward, right? So it means this advertisement, in one way, such kind of advertisement try to convince you that open such account in our bank. So this is the effect, right? This is the effect. So in simple sense, when Harold wanted to make a communication process diagram at that time, these 5 questions came in his mind. Who, it means sender, says what he is trying to say. Sender क्या बात कहना चाहता है, says what, it means message. To whom, किसे कहना चाहता है. तो now I'm telling something to you, so you all are receivers. So to whom, it means receiver. In which channel, whatever the channel we are using in communication, now you can say it's a internet, right? With what effect? So effect, it means feedback. Feedback, it means you will, if I ask you like do you understand what is verbal communication and how will you explain non-verbal communication, and if you reply yes ma'am, we have understood that this is called verbal and this is called non-verbal communication. So this is the effect of our communication. Okay, I hope these things are clear to you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so according to the linear concept of communication, communication was considered a one-way process marked by the flow of information from a sender to a receiver.
Ma'am,
Yes,
what means linear consult?
it is a title name. It is
Okay.
a model which has given by Harold, and he has given the name linear concept of communication. Okay, and I will
Okay.
explain you this word in a detail in the next session. Okay, if you have a doubt in that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. What did I say? Yes. So the linear concept of communication, in which communication is considered one-way process. Okay. So now moment we are communicating, right? So how will you define this communication? It is one-way communication or two-way communication? What will you say? Just tell me.
Two-way.
Two-way.
Two-way communication.
Two-way,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Vinita and Dhruv. Any other persons? Any other students? What do you think? It is a one-way. One-way, it means what? I'm speaking and you are just listening. You don't have to say me yes or no, or you don't have to ask me any questions, right? So it is called one-way communication. I'm dictating you something and you are trying to write it or understand it. But if you are involving with me, if you are asking me something, if you are understanding me, right? If you are raising a question with me, so it is called, you are also a part of this communication. So such kind of communication, it is called two-way communication. Okay. So now what we are doing? Two-way communication or one-way?
Two-way communication.
Two-way communication.
Okay.
Two-way communication.
Two-way, right? Very good. Vishwa Kush Kirtan. First time I heard from you. Very good. Okay. So now moment we are doing two-way communication. So in this linear concept of communication, it is considered only one-way process. Just give me a second. According to this linear view, the receiver passively receives the message, acts as directed or desired by the sender. Communication is intended to control or manipulate the receiver. It is assumed that the message, while passing through the medium chosen by the sender, reaches the receiver without any distortion or change. Sender sends a message through the media and receiver gets a message, right, in action. simple sense, you don't have to confuse. One thing you have to keep in mind, when it is a linear concept of communication, you just have to keep in mind one thing, that it is a one way process. Okay, one way process, it means what? In such kind of communication, only sender sends a message and receiver just have to listen him or her, listen them. You know, it is only a one-way process. They don't have to give any kind of a feedback or any questions. Like you can, collaborate it with like mass communication. What happen in mass communication? In group communication and mass communication, there are the group of people, right? But in group communication, what happens? Other persons, other students are involved with me, right? They try to ask me something, they try to reply me yes or no. But in mass communication, like if you are watching a movie, right? And at that time, if you want to say, oh, this thing is not exactly happen in real thing, or it is not correct, so you are just a faceless or silent audience. You don't have such kind of a power or a attribute that you raise a question or you reply to that, right? So in simple sense, linear concept of communication में एक ही बात आपको ध्यान में रखने की है कि in such kind of communication, it is always a one way process. I have already explained you what is a one-way communication. Sender is sending a message and receiver just receiving a message. That's it. रिसीवर को कोई भी मतलब क्वेश्चन करना या उसे कोई फीडबैक देना, that aspect doesn't include in the linear concept of communication. Is it clear to you all? Linear concept, you just have to keep in mind one way process. What is the one way process? Sender is sending a message and receiver just get it. That's it. Okay?
Okay, I understand.
Okay. And what is the Shannon-Weaver model? It is these are the, model name. Like they have given some kinds of diagram. Like in a linear model of communication, this is the one kind of diagram, like sender, message, receiver. That's it. Okay. Now what is happening in Shannon-Weaver model? So here it is a diagram based on the Shannon-Weaver model. Here I have please सिंपल एक सी बात है, सभी में एक कोई भी कम्युनिकेशन की बात करे, राइट? तो उसमें इतनी चीजें ही होंगी, सेंडर, रिसीवर, मैसेज, चैनल और फीडबैक, राइट? कम्युनिकेशन जो है वो इन इतने वर्ड्स के अलावा और कुछ नहीं है. बट अकॉर्डिंग टू द different model, they use different kinds of words, right? That we are going to discuss. Like in Shannon-Weaver model, they have a described communication in such a way. The first one is information source, encoding process, channel, noise, decoding process, destination. I hope through this diagram, two words are clear to you, encoding and decoding, right? Encoding means whatever the communicator wants to communicate with the other person, whatever the ideas or thoughts are running in his or her mind, he tries to convert it into words or in a non-verbal way, through gesture he communicates. So this process is called encoding. Decoding, it means whatever the words I am using now moment to teach you this model, at that time, according to your knowledge, according to the understanding of your language power, according to your experience, you will try to understand what I mean to say, right? What is exactly it is. So this process is called decoding. information source, destination. Who will say me? Who will tell me that information source, it means what? How will you replace this word with other word? Means sender, message, channel, receiver, and feedback. These are the 5 or 6 words are there. If I have to put any one word instead of information source, so which word will you exchange it?
Sender.
Sender.
Very good. And how will you exchange this word destination?
Receiver.
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 Receiver. Very good. Right. So it is clear to you all, right? Information source, it is the sender. Encoding, decoding, you all know, right? Channel, you know, through which channel, right? Destination, it means receiver. Destiny, matlab destinate, right, Nick? In that way. And what is a noise and all. So these are the very complicating Shannon-Weaver model. He has given so many kinds of words that we are going to discuss it. But this is a simple sense. If we are talking about communication, these are the only 4 or 5 words: sender, receiver, encoding, decoding, channel, message, and feedback. That's it. Communication is over. Okay, so let me discuss it through the theoretical part. Shannon-Weaver model of communication was first published in the Bell System Technical Journal. It was based on the mathematical or mechanistic view of the communication process, in which the basic problem is that the message received is not the same as the message sent. He attributed the loss to noise. Weaver introduced the idea of feedback as a corrective counter to noise. However, in the Shannon-Weaver model, feedback was not considered to be an integral component because the model conceived the communication process as a linear act, feedback as a new act of communication. This is why the Shannon-Weaver model, feedback is represented by dotted lines. Here it is. Okay, so don't be confused. It is as simple as that. Like in a linear concept of communication, you have to just keep in mind this one thing. It is a one-way process. Okay, if any communication it is in a one way, what do you think? Feedback is necessary? Yes or no? अगर आप वन वे कम्युनिकेशन कर रहे हो तो वहां पे फीडबैक होगा?
No. No, ma'am.
Right? So bas, that's it. Like in a linear concept of communication, it is a one way process. So उसमें feedback और वो सब कुछ होता ही नहीं, right? So it is a simple sender, message, and receiver. That's it. Okay? But in Shannon-Weaver model, they include the word feedback because Shannon-Weaver model, it is called two-way communication, right? So if it is a two-way communication, destination, or you can say receiver, also try to feedback the sender, or you can say information source. So in linear concept of communication, that is a one-way process, right? It is a one-way communication. So feedback is not a compulsory, or it's not necessary. It is not there. But in this model, like a Shannon-Weaver model, there is a feedback because it is a two-way process. So if I ask you, Shannon-Weaver model is a two-way communication or two-way process or one-way process, so what will you say?
Two-way.
Two-way.
Right?
Two-way.
Yes. So very good. So now it's these two models are complete. Now, in simple sense, I have explained this thing, which I have already explained you. I just read it. information source. Ideation. The communication process begins with the information source. The sender has some raw information in the form of outside experience. His or her intent changes that information into a message to be communicated. The source of a message, therefore, is the information source of the communication process. In simple sense, आपको दिमाग में इतनी बात याद रखनी है कि information source, it means the sender. Okay? Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
is yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Encoding transmitter, which I have already explained you. After having thoughts about the message, the sender puts it into a words, right? Like verbal words or symbols or non-verbal way, like symbolic form of expression. This process is called encoding. Channel transmission, it means medium, an appropriate medium, oral, written, electronic, in code, or a signaling system chosen to send the message is known as the channel. Okay, so channel, it means the way you are, through which medium you are communicating. Oral, written, electronic, right? We can say now moment we are communicating with through electronic medium, right? Code. So this is called channel. Instead of an exam, if I write the transmission word, so it is called channel also, right? Receiver. Decoding. The receiver gets the message through decoding by receiving, understanding, and interpreting the message. I have already explained you, like I explain you something. So there are maybe 65 or 67 students are here, right? So whatever I am trying to explain you, each and every student will understand it according to their perspective, according to his prior knowledge, according to this basic current knowledge, right? According to his if I explain you like who is what is encoding, and if any student has researched in Google like this call is encoding, so that student will have a more idea about what is encoding, right? So according to that knowledge, if any person decode that message, it is called, that process is called decoding. Okay. Acting. The communication process ends with the receiver putting the interrupted message into action as intended by the sender. Acting, it means the simple words, it's a one kind of a feedback. Okay. And noise, it means what? So if now moment we are communicating, if any student switch on his audio or maybe from my side too, if any other you can say noise has come, and that thing just interpreting not dissimulating or has or create some kinds of hazardous feeling, that's distortion, it is called noise. The process of communication is however open to noise which prevents or distorts communication, right? Distorts, it mean जब भी हम लोग कम्युनिकेशन कर रहे हैं और कोई चीज ऐसी हो जाती है कि मतलब कोई आसपास से इतनी ज्यादा आवाज आने लगे कि यू नो जिससे हमारा कम्युनिकेशन जिस तरह से हो रहा है आप मुझे अच्छी तरह से सुन ना पाओ, right? So that kind of prevents, that distorts communication, right? So it is called noise. We all know what is the noise, but these are the, if you have to give a definition about what is the noise, so in which way you can say, like here I have written like external disturbance in the physical environment surrounding the act of communication, or noise in the machine used for communicating the message, like telephone disturbance, poor print, bad handwriting. These are also we can include as a noise, right? Like now moment if my phone is ringing, right? If I give you some book but that no handwriting is not good, or that print is not readable, so you, what I mean to say, or what is written in that book, you won't be able to understand. So telephonic disturbance, poor print, bad handwriting, right? And other external noise, right? This all we can include it in noise. And last one is filters. Filters are mental in nature. They include attitudes, beliefs, experience, consciousness of a personal status, and the ability to think clearly. Misunderstanding and different problems may arise as the message is transmitted through the filters of both parties, such as low interest and involvement in the message, or distraction and fatigue causes loss of concentration. Filters, it means in simple sense, whatever I'm trying to communicate with you, I'm trying to convey to you, and you try to filter, right? You do you understand the filter meaning? Filter, it means uh, जो चीज मैं आपको कम्युनिकेट करना चाहती हूँ वो आप अपने हिसाब से विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ परसेप्शन और मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग वो बात आप डायरेक्टली समझ जाए विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग you clearly catch my words what exactly it means, right? So it is called filter.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes. So today in this session, what we have discussed, simple sense you have to keep in mind. Today we have discussed two model, linear concept of communication. In this communication, it is considered a one-way process. Okay. So it is a one-way process. Feedback is not necessary. It is not there. Not necessary. It is not there. Another model was a Shannon-Weaver model in which there is a feedback, right? So it is a two-way process, and there are this is a diagram which is based on Shannon-Weaver model. So information source, it means sender, destination, it means receiver, and other things we all know, right? So I hope any question from your side.
No, ma'am.
I
No.
hope
No, ma'am.
these two concepts are clear to you all. And any doubt in types of communication? Because types of communication, it is a very important, you can say, topic of communication. Anyone can ask me what is haptics, yeah? What is non-verbal? How will you define non-verbal? So these
Haptic
are
means touch.
touch. Very good. Grow. Okay, so I hope today you have enjoyed this session. We'll see you in our next session, and I have already taken your attendance too. So have a good day to all of you.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.